air signs, this is going to be your reading for this week. And of course, these are timeless readings, so if you find it later, then it still applies. I am going to use this sistrum to clear the air for you today. Just breathe very gently and relax. And set your intention for the reading today. So the air signs, that is going to be Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And I will be using this week the Dame Darcy Mermaid Tarot. Hi, countries of the world, welcome back. I also, when I'm done over here, will be going over and doing a extended reading in the members portion of the channel, and I will be using, oh, thank you, I appreciate that. I will be using this dendritic opal for the scrying over there. So we're going to start with the sign of Gemini. And I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the cards. So while I'm doing that, go ahead and take some nice deep breaths. Inhale through your nose if you care to, or through your mouth if that feels better. It needn't be very harsh. Just take some very gentle but deep breaths, and that's going to stimulate the vagus nerve. So, and then sigh out all of that tension. Oh, countries of the world, I probably couldn't name all of the countries that I've been to offhand. Because I don't quite remember. But mostly in Europe and Great Britain. And Gemini, if there are any things in your life currently that are troubling you, perhaps we can brainstorm some solutions during the reading today. So just kind of gently allow your mind to wander over to the solution-oriented part of your brain and think about some of the things that if you had them would make your life easier, or if you didn't have them, it would perhaps make your life easier. And I will be marking down the timestamp for this as well. So I'm going to go ahead and lay out the reading first, and then I will note the timestamp. I'm going to move the mic, so hopefully that's not super loud. There we go. That's a little bit better. There we go. I have to make room for the cards. All right, Gemini. So here we have write that down. And let's begin. The card that we have in your past, Gemini, is the Page of Cups. It's showing up reversed here. So there could have been an offer that you had received, or it could have been an offer that you extended to someone else and they're still thinking about it. Whatever the case may be, that is going to lead us into the current situation. So it could be reversed because you're the one extending the offer and you haven't heard back yet. But it could also be reversed because somebody extended an offer to you and you have already accepted it. So that's also a possibility. This being a general reading, it's a little more difficult to parse things out like that automatically. Here in the current situation, we have the Nine of Pentacles reversed. It seems like, Gemini, you might feel like you lack financial independence. And the card we have crossing this position is the Hierophant. So for some of you, you could be lacking financial independence because of a marriage of which you are a part. But the Hierophant can also be about the status quo, and it can be about predominant social ideals and morals. So there could be something about your life that kind of goes against those things, and thus it might make it more difficult for you to get a job. Now, of course, we do have the Equal Employment Act, and so technically speaking, you should be able to get a job wherever you are qualified to work. But it doesn't always work out like that, because if you need a job, you need a job to earn money. You need money to pay lawyers to fight these things in court. So that's also a possibility here. That Page of Cups from the past could have been an offer that you made to somebody else, as far as like putting out a resume or something like that too. Or the Page of Cups in another instance could be that you accepted somebody's offer for marriage. So Um, a few of these things are possible, and of course, this being a general reading, there are going to be different scenarios for all of you. Down here in the Imam Sili, we have the Five of Cups. So this is a card about disappointments. And there could be a disappointment that you don't have this financial independence and you thought that you would by now. But there is still some promise here with the Five of Cups. We do have two cups that are not spilled. So the disappointment can sometimes be more about our perceptions of situations rather than it being a failure, right? It's more like our perceptions of disappointment regarding a situation. Sometimes you can be disappointed about situations that are actually quite successful. So that's something to keep in mind. Gemini, your perspective on this situation is the Strength card. Strength is Leo's card in the major arcana, so there could be a Leo involved in this situation. A sun or rising sign, possibly a moon sign. The moon signs don't tend to come out as strongly in the same way that we often think to perceive them. It's more of an emotional energy. But the Strength card in this position can also be about you showing strength in this situation. It can be about the persuasion that you put out there. And of course, this might be linked to this offer that you've made in the past, possibly. From an outside perspective, looking in, we have the Knight of Wands. And this card is about a great burst of energy. So this is a fire of fire energy. And it is a great expenditure of energy. Very passionate, very hot-headed. That could be how you are perceived at this time, Gemini. That perhaps there's a little too much eagerness. To you, that might be how you're pushing through the disappointment, but someone else might construe it as overexuberance or overzealousness. So just be mindful of the way that you present yourself to others. Not that what you're doing is wrong or bad in any way, but that other people's perceptions might be hampering you in that area. Here in the future, we have the Six of Swords, and it is showing up reversed. So this could be a departure, a trip, that the potential is there. So this could be something that you're not planning for, but that ends up coming through at some point in the future. And this might be something that ends up propelling the action of your life forward even. So that Six of Swords could be a move, could be relocation, could be a trip. And it could be the result of this feeling like you're not financially independent. Perhaps you relocate to take a different job. Here in the hopes and fears, we have the Five of Wands, and this card is reversed. So, one thing I'm strongly getting an impression of is that you may have come through a situation in which there was a lot of rivalry, a lot of infighting, a lot of competition. And because this card is reversed, it would be not competition in which everybody is trying to train up to their best selves, but more like a crabs in a bucket type mentality where people are just trying to tear each other down and sabotage each other's hard work. And that is contrasted by the strength card here, that you have kind of risen above these energies, but you worry that they might crop up for you at some point in the future, especially if you're heading into a brand new situation. Up here in the midheaven, this is going to be the result of whatever this is with this disappointment and the Five of Cups that we have in the Imam Sili. And whatever this Five of Cups represents might very well be why you have these reservations and are feeling nervous that you might end up in another situation like that. But here in the midheaven, the result of that is going to be that you're very guarded. So it is good to be guarded to a healthy level. This is guarding and protecting what you already have. It's not really an energy of defense. There are defensive aspects to it, but it's a very guarded and kind of a closed off energy. So just be mindful of that. It is in the upright, so that might be what needs to happen for you at this time, Gemini. And the final outcome card for your reading today is the Ten of Wands in the reverse, that you're going to be casting off all of these burdens. This Five of Cups energy plus this Five of Wands energy, all of that baggage, you are going to be leaving it behind, moving forward. All right, Gemini. Well, thank you, everyone, so much for joining me. If you would like, I do offer personal readings at several different price points, and those are available on my website. All of that information is in the description. I will not solicit you for readings in the comments. I haven't had anyone show up and try to do that. I do try to groom my comments pretty judiciously, but just so you know. So the next sign that I'll be reading for today is Libra. And I will be shuffling the cards. I did turn the other cards from Gemini's reading over so that I will have those available for the... If you would excuse me just a moment, I'm going to try to do this without being too loud. But I think my microphone is kind of interfering with my focus. There we go. So next, I'll be reading for the sign of Libra. And Libra, if you would, just take some nice, deep, relaxing breaths. Sigh out. any tension that you might be carrying. And allow any troubles that you're having to kind of just float toward the forefront of your mind. We aren't trying to stress out about them. We don't want to think about how hopeless the situation is, because time marches onward and it often heals our wounds on its own. So, regardless of anything else, it's more than likely a temporary situation. But if there are any concerns that you have, and I will write down the timestamp. Okay, Libra, let's begin. So, in the past, we have the Two of Pentacles, and this card is reversed, but it does indicate that at some point in the past you had brought your life into balance. This can be balancing your diet, balancing your checkbook. It does largely have to do with mundane matters. In the current situation, we have the King of Swords crossing the Eight of Pentacles reversed. So we do see you, Libra, showing up as the King of Swords in your reading. This is air of air energy. Very focused, very driven, very analytical, very discerning, able to see beyond the black and white of situations and parse out the deeper meaning, right? And yet, with this Eight of Pentacles here in the reverse, there could be a situation cropping up for you where something that you thought was going to be a long-term career for you, you might be diverting from that for some reason. Now, it could be that it turned out not to be right for you, especially if you have recently gone through a personal evaluation and balanced a lot of things out for yourself. If you are in a career field that is very unbalanced, it's going to be difficult for you to stay there. And that is not a fault of yours, because this King of Swords is a very strong personality. And because the crossing card is always read in the upright, this is going to be the King of Swords in his vibrance, in his glory. But that this might not be something that is working out for you at this time. Down here in the Imam Silai, we do have the Three of Pentacles upright. So you are very experienced in this field, and you do have a good reputation. The Three of Pentacles can also be about working in a group. Oh, hi. We are on the sign of Libra. Thank you for coming. So The Three of Pentacles here could indicate that you've been doing group work. It indicates that the group dynamic is probably quite good, and as a result, your professional reputation is quite good at this time. From your perspective, we have the Ace of Swords coming out in the reverse. So this again is element of air energy, very aligned with your sign, Libra. And because it's in the reverse, it could be that you see the potential to make changes in your life, but you might not be ready to really make the changes yet. That you could be in the planning process, or these could be things that are kind of harsh, like having to cut people out of your life is very harsh, having to leave situations, especially if this is something that you thought would be a long-term career prospect for you. From the outside looking in, people see you as a strong provider. You may have water in your chart. King of Cups is air of water energy. It's somebody who's very nurturing, somebody who actively takes care of others as a provider. So it could be putting a roof over somebody's head, clothing, feeding them, or even just providing mentorship and that kind of support to others. And that is how other people see you at this time. So that could be part of this good professional reputation, right, Libra? Let's look at the future. Now we have the Wheel of Fortune here. Wheel of Fortune turning for or against your favor. The potential is there for it to be very good. Wheel of Fortune is Jupiterian energy, wealth and expansion. And the potential's there, but it's going to, I think, hinge on some of these changes that might need to be made. We do have the idea of Pentacles implied, Pentacles inferred, but Pentacles not present. We have the fixed signs, so that's Taurus, Leo, fellow fire or fellow air sign Aquarius has kind of been merged with the eagle for Scorpio into kind of a harpy up here at the top, as those are a nautical themed cryptid for this deck, which is the Mermaid Tarot. So this is really going to hinge on you. Now, there are going to be, we'll get to that, there are going to be things moving forward that have a little more stability behind them. The hopes and fears, we have the Ace of Pentacles. So this is hoping for a new situation. This situation, it seems like, is not working out. And so you're hoping that something else will come in to take its place. But again, we have this Ace of Swords, down here from your perspective, that is reversed. That I sense a hesitation on your part to make certain changes that are going to move this forward for you. Here in the midheaven, so this is going to be the result of this good professional reputation, and possibly as well the result of some group projects that you've done. We have the Four of Wands. This can be a card of marriage. It can be a card of celebration. So there might be a promotion, which wouldn't be a totally new situation, would carry you a little bit further along this path, possibly. But it could be a new situation as well. It's going to depend on this. Timeline-wise, this Wheel of Fortune is going to come first, and then the final outcome card, which we will go over next. And finally, this Four of Wands. And I think that you already see this happening. In the final outcome position, we have the Nine of Swords, and that is showing up reversed. You could be clearing from your mind all of these anxieties and stresses. You could be deciding that these are not things that actually affect you in a way that's going to be detrimental in the long term, and therefore just deciding to let them go, overcoming this anxiety. And that will be a good step toward making the changes that need to be made for your desired outcome. All right, Libra, so thank you for joining me. If you would like a personal reading, I do have that information down in the description box below. And we will be moving on to the sign of Aquarius now. And I will be shuffling the cards for Aquarius. So if you would, just kind of gently take some deep sighing breaths. Release a lot of the stress. If you're carrying any, you can roll your neck around. Just relax, sit back, allow your troubles to gently float to the front of your mind. You don't need to focus on them, just allow them to sit there. Don't think about them as negative things in your life. Think about them as obstacles that can be overcome with the right circumstances. And I'm almost done shuffling your cards. Yes, there we go. And I will deal them out, and then I will write down the timestamp. I will go ahead and say, Aquarius, that the card that jumped out for you was the Five of Pentacles. So some of you might be feeling lack at this time. Okay, let's get into it. So Aquarius, in the past we have this Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords is indicative of a conflict that is in some ways lost by both sides. So you could have been the victor, you could have been the loser. But moreover, what ends up happening in these situations is that the conflict drives people apart, such that the connection between them is lost. It becomes too contentious for either party to move forward with the other. And that is why it is not necessarily a card of victory, but rather a card of conflict and more likely defeat. And that would make sense as to why we're then moving into another five, the Five of Pentacles. You can see that they're very cold. They could try to get warmth from this church over here in the background, but they've chosen not to do that, or perhaps they're not welcome there. It's hard to believe people wouldn't feel welcome in a church, but it's true. Crossing that card, we have the Devil. And the Devil is all these things that we allow to control us, or that we may have the ability to exercise some control over, but we still have it controlling us. It is allowing things to become our master. And because it's showing up here in the context of what has happened in the past and the Five of Pentacles here, it seems like that energy is much more about the way that you're reacting to these situations. That perhaps there are ways to move forward and move on that would make it easier. In the back of the Five of Swords, this guy is really, really relishing what has happened here. But these guys, they're not dead. They have left him with their swords because they have lost the fight. But they're walking away, and that has its own victory to it. Aquarius, down here in the Imum we have fellow air sign Gemini's Major Arcana card, which is the Lover's card. There is a lot here about duality. It can be about a love relationship. In this case, because the card is upright, I would take that relationship to be going well. And even here on the Five of Pentacles card, these two people have each other, or these two mer people, rather, mer folk have each other. So you may very well be in this situation with a partner. The Lover's card can also be similar to the Two of Swords and indicate a choice that you would be able to make in a situation. Here, from your perspective, we have the Death card, indicating a transformational change of state, change from one plane to the next. So you see the change occurring. An outsider's perspective on this situation. So looking in at your life, we have the Magician card. And this card is about powers of manifestation, where we see it reversed like this. So the Magician card is also the card of Mercury in the Major Arcana and is therefore linked to the sign of Gemini, but also the element of air. Could be linked to Virgo as well. And you can see that the Magician has all of these tools floating around them. The wand, the sword, the chalice, the pentacle. It's a card of mastery. It's a card of manifestation. It is a card of masculine creation, whereas the Empress is the card of feminine creation. But because it's showing up here in the reverse, it looks like people at this time see great potential in you, but that they're not seeing the follow through with this manifestation that perhaps they expected. Those are their expectations, not yours. You can see the change occurring for better or for worse. All right, Aquarius, let's look now at the future. And in the future, we have the moon reversed. So sometimes when we are reading tarot, the cards in the future don't really tell us that much. And this is one of those cases, other than it's going to be a little bit tricky to navigate. Things about it will be kept obscured. There could be situations where you are uncertain of the way forward, or you're not quite sure exactly what is going on. All of these things, it's possible for them to block your manifestation. Now, this is in the immediate future, okay? And we do have cards for the eventual destiny that are much more clear. So it's probably just going to be that there's going to be a little bit of an unclear period, and that you will navigate that, and further into the future, things will come back into focus. But that's the nature of how things are anyway, so I'm not telling you anything you wouldn't have already figured out on your own. Aquarius, here in your hopes and fears, we have the Three of Wands, and it's showing up upright, which indicates things returning to you from energy that you have put out into the world. And this is what you're hoping for. You are hoping that whatever this might be, that the result to you is going to take you further along your path where you want to go and what you want to achieve. But this is in your hopes and fears, so it's not necessarily guaranteed. We do have in the midheaven the Eight of Cups. It's a card of walking away from something that was actually quite good. We're almost complete here. We almost have enough cups to complete the stack, and yet it's not enough. And the person is choosing to walk away. So you might already know that this is the case. This might be something you are being urged to do by a loved one. Because the Lovers in the upright is the card down here in the Imam Silai. So this could be the choice that you're making to walk away. Or it could be a loved one or a close partner and confidant who at this particular time is urging you to take this step. And the final outcome for your reading, Aquarius. We have the Hermit card in the reverse. So you could have been in seclusion. You could have been undergoing a spiritual metamorphosis away from the prying eyes of the public. So you would see that change. And other people might not. They might say, well, you're a magician. Why aren't you manifesting X, Y, or Z for yourself to get yourself out of a situation? But if you have been in this hermit energy, seeking within for these answers, then you might be making great progress here, but it might be too far away for anyone else to see. And so now, Zarathustra, it's time for you to come down from the mountain. Thank you, 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 thank you to everyone who joined me for the live stream today. I do apologize for the hiccup, but it is between timestamps. It was between the Gemini and the Libra reading. So it did get cleared up, it looks like. Thank you so much for your support. I'm going to be going over now to the members side of the channel and doing the crystal scrying. So maybe I'll see you there. No pressure, of course. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you again very, very